Welcome down to King Street is the Drilling and Shooting podcast. I'm your host SJ, and we have a very special guest today, all the way to the drilling. It's Matt Feeney. Matt, welcome.
Hey mate, good to see you.
I really hope I said your name properly there. I was like,
Thanks for having us here.
yeah. Well, you never know. You never know. All right, so really today is just getting to know a little bit more about you, just hearing your journey. So to take it back to the beginning. Obviously, you've been doing drilling for a while. Where did it all begin? Like, when did you first sort of realise that this is a career path for you?
Back in 2012 I started.
Yep.
So a fair while back. Ex-girlfriend, her dad owned a drilling company and kind of fell short of an offsider one day and hit us up to come give him a hand. So jumped on board and a little geotechnical project up in Exmouth, so good spot.
Very nice.
Yeah, it was obviously pouring down rain, middle of winter, down here in Perth, and got up to Exmouth, obviously on the defence base up there, pretty big project, and carried out a diamond drilling campaign up there. So
That's crazy. How did you feel on your first day? Like, were you shitting yourself, like generally, or were you?
No, not
like...
really. Like, I'm up there with my girlfriends like that. Like, you know, what I mean, obviously at the time known each other for a fair while, so it was pretty easy going. You know what I mean? Got up to site and got shown the ropes and pretty fast paced. And the weather, like coming from like absolutely pissing down rain down here in Perth, to get up there middle of winter, dry season, like it was unreal.
That's crazy. How long were you up there for? Like first
that
stint?
project went for about 6 weeks.
Okay,
so
full 6 weeks.
Yeah.
When you got back, was it just like second nature's going to offer you the job, or was it like
he
head back?
He kept telling me dump my daughter and you found a job. So I think it was a ploy to it, you know what I mean? But it was kind of me initiating it, going, you know, I was doing multi-story high-rise buildings here in the city as a formwork carpenter. Yeah. And obviously a bit of a change, and I was like, this is great. Like, where do I sign up? You know, so it took a couple months of pestering, you know what I mean, to obviously bear some fruit. And obviously woke up one morning, he's like, yelled out to me, hey, do you still want a job? I'm like, yep. So he's like, all right, here's all these inductions, get it done. And about 2 weeks later, I flew up to Roy Hill when it first kicked off.
Okay. Oh, awesome.
Yeah.
Ah, killer. So you there for a little bit, away from there. How long were you at that company for? Give it a shout out if you want to.
Originally stayed there with Edge until I think I did about 4 years there.
Yeah.
They closed down at the time. Obviously, the whole industry went quiet back then. And then I jumped on to DDH1.
Oh, yeah, awesome.
Yeah, so a bit of a swap up from obviously the geotechnical environmental stuff. And went full exploration bush. So.
Yeah. How is that? So when you're doing exploration drilling, like what sort of stage were you at? Like sort of early stage exploration drilling with DDH1? Or
So we'll fly in the Newman, jump on a helicopter. First time being on a helicopter.
Yeah,
it's
crazy.
like a 2 hour helicopter ride out into the desert, pretty much south of Telfer. It was interesting.
Yeah, what is it like? Like obviously, I've spoken to some geos and stuff like that. They're very interested in rocks. For you guys who want to dig holes, how is it like when you head out and you get dumped in the middle of the desert? Like, obviously you've got a job to do, but during the downtimes and those sorts of things, like, what's the feeling like? You know, how long are you out there for?
Yeah, obviously it's a little bit daunting coming into a new crew. Dumped in the middle of nowhere, sleeping in a caravan in bunk beds, you know what I mean? Like 2 years in the room, don't know anyone, but I mean, once you get past all that, it's really what you make of it. You know, the guys you work with really make it, and days on the rig, you know, pulling rods and whatnot. Days go very quick. Yeah. Like before you know it's knock off time. You know, back to camp, cook dinner. Yeah. Day's done. Wake up, do it again. We're doing 4 weeks on, 2 weeks off. Rosters out there.
That's not bad, yeah.
So it's still a long time. 4 weeks, man. It's not for everyone.
Yeah, of course.
You know what I mean? But
I could never do it.
Obviously, no, it was good.
That's fantastic. So you were DH1, first sort of stint out there, knocking about. How long were you with those guys for, with the boys for, and then like? So
I think after out there, we progressed down to DeGrussa, the copper mine,
Okay.
down near Meekafara there. Spent a bit of time there, and kind of moved on from DDH1. Kind of got over the long swings and that. Thought, come back down to Perth for a bit.
Yeah.
So I went back to construction. Had, I think, about 2 years off.
Okay. So you came back to construction. How's that? I guess that changed because obviously, like, akin it to like going to the army, you go on base, coming back, getting deployed, and then you how's
No,
the
it was a
feeling
pretty
on
smooth transition. Obviously,
Yeah.
I've been doing construction since I was 14.
So,
It's what I knew.
Yeah.
So it was a pretty easy transition. Obviously, got a little bit more of your life back. You know what I mean? Working Monday to Friday, 8-hour days and that. But obviously, I kind of got pretty over that.
Yeah.
And kind of went back to my ex-girlfriend's dad, who started back up again.
Okay.
Yeah, so he kicked up about 2 years later, and he kind of reached out one day and said he was starting back up, asked for some advice and a bit of information and whatnot, and he asked what I was doing, and I said, kind of looking at trying to go back up north, and he's like, oh, well, started up again, do you want to come back? And kind of went from there.
More geotechnical stuff up there as well?
Yeah, that was back doing geotechnical drilling again, geotechnical environmental,
Perfect. What do you like? Obviously you've gone back to it. You've jumped in there. What do you like about that sort of side of drilling as opposed to
Exploration.
Yeah, exploration. Yeah.
With geotech, it's you're bouncing around a lot more.
Okay.
You're never stuck in the same place for too long. 1 minute you're in Bunbury, you know what I mean, or Collie, in town on a project. Next thing you're up in the Pilbara, or up in Broome, you know what I mean. You're up there for a couple of weeks. There's a lot of driving. You get to explore a lot of estate. And, if you kind of rock up somewhere where it's not quite, all that flash, you're like, it doesn't matter. We're only here for a couple of weeks or a month. So, it's good.
So it's a bit more of there's a lot more sea changes then, I guess, with that, and then.
That as well as the drilling behind it, obviously the sample. We're normally drilling very poor ground conditions day in, day out. Where the exploration guys come in, the pre-collar's already done. All the snots out of the way, and they don't really. They're straight into the rock. You know what I mean. Whereas us, our clients, we want that stuff. We need to know about that. We plan on building this massive mine here, or do this, or do that. So it's a little bit more technical, challenging in that respect.
So keeps you on your toes a little bit more.
Definitely does.
Yeah. What's the best place you visited, or the funnest place you visited so far, I guess, within your travels with geotech?
Probably Clumbaroo.
I have no idea where that is.
So it's west of Kununurra. It's out in the peninsula.
Okay.
There's a small Aboriginal community out there. BHP had some leases out there for bauxite and stuff.
Okay.
And we were out there doing some air core drilling, but it's just unreal country.
It's
another world.
Proper like red desert, or is it like?
It's just a little bit tropical, to be honest. When we were out there. It's right up on the Burrup Peninsula.
Okay.
It's pretty good country, and got to stop in at the falls up there. I think it was Fitzroy Falls or whatnot. And
okay.
It was a good experience.
That's crazy. So you've obviously went back to that. How long were you out doing that kind of drilling for your ex's dad?
Well, I think in total, maybe six years.
Geez, okay, so there for quite a while.
Yeah, on and off. Yeah, 6 years and about 2 years in exploration. Yep. So no, it was good.
And then after that?
After that, 2020 come around, and
fun times.
Yeah, I thought, you know what, this is a great time to run it myself. So
is this where precision came into play?
So it was always on the cards. Obviously, with my business partner, we spoke about it. Yeah, I mean, we're best mates kind of thing. And, it was, kind of we had a fair few beers, and we're like, when's a good time? Should we do it? What's the risks? And kind of 2020 come around, and we bit the bullet, and purchased our first rig, and precision come alive.
So, I always ask this sort of purchasing, because it's not like sometimes, you know, I think of it as like, I don't see a dealership where you rock up into find.
Definitely not.
So like, let's take it for a spin.
Especially on second-hand equipment.
Yeah.
It's, the banks don't like
Yeah.
loaning money.
How do you vet that, and how do you vet that you're obviously getting a good machine? Obviously, you're buying it from someone that you feel is reputable at that time, but they're selling it for a reason. Like, how do you get that capital? Like, what is that process? Like, talk me through that.
So we talked about obviously which path we kind of went down. A lot of drilling geotechnical contractors were going down the Hanjin drill rigs out of Korea at the time. Pretty cheap, you know what I mean. Entry level rigs, and I kind of stood back and looked at some of the bigger players over here in Western Australia, like your Hagstroms, your J&S drilling stuff, and I noticed these guys were buying this one particular brand of rig, the Hydropower Scouts, built over in Queensland. And I thought, obviously, they're a little bit bigger of a machine for the geotechnical market, but obviously I was like seeing how well they've done, you know what I mean? I was like, there's got to be a reason they're using these assets, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So we kind of bought the rig without even looking at it. Called Tom up from Geo Drill, and he kind of gave me the rundown on it. And I actually bought that and the truck that it went on. It was a track-based Hydropower Scout drill rig, and a flatbed truck with some ramps, beaver tail truck, and that off we went.
Off you went, perfect. And like, trained it over, but like, how does it get transported from Queens? Like, this is what baffles me. I'm like, it's not going on a truck.
So we, before we bought it, we obviously won our first project. First project was out at Agnew Gold Mine for Goldfields.
Okay.
We didn't have the rig, didn't have nothing. We were looking online at the time. There was nothing available as well.
It's like eBay.
So we've seen this rig come up. We've kind of bought it, and a few days before the job, I think it was about 4 days before the job was about to kick off. We've organised for a transport truck to bring it all back. And we thought we had the measurements right and stuff. And the truck drivers rocked up to pick this machine up. Tom wasn't there. He said the gate's unlocked, like, you know what I mean? Anyway, the drivers are sitting there, and they've phoned me up, and they're going, mate, it's not going to fit. They said, it's either the truck or the rig. They said, take your pick. I was sitting there, I'm like, oh man, I'm up shit creek without a paddle here. I'm like, yeah, just get the rig, just take the rig, get it over, and we'll sort it out later. So a couple of days went past. I think the night before we were supposed to start the job, the rig kind of rocked up. I think it was about 9 p.m. at night.
Oh, relief.
Yeah, we're not out of woodworks there yet, but we've unloaded this machine. I've never seen it, haven't looked at it, haven't inspected it, haven't drilled on it. I've never drilled on these type of rigs, so we've got it stood up in the yard, and we're trying to work everything out. I think the time went on, it was about, I don't know, midnight, 1 a.m. We're like, sweet, we're happy, I'm going to go home, get a couple of hours sleep, 'cause we're driving out next day.
Yeah.
So I've organised the same boys who brought it over to drive it out out near Leinster at the Agnew Gold Mine there and drop it off for us, you know. Anyway, we've gone to turn the machine off. We folded it all up. We've gone to turn the track carrier off, and pulled the keys out, and it hasn't even turned off. And we're like, what is going on? Like, we just couldn't believe it. And we're trying everything, we're working everything, and spent a couple of hours trying to get this machine to turn off. And then it worked out that the ignition, because we had the keys in our pocket, but to turn the machine off, we actually had to have power. The keys turned on to turn it off.
Oh, okay.
So it took us like 3 hours to work this out.
It's like 3 in the morning.
Oh, it was like 5 o'clock. The same guys who brought it here from Queensland have literally rolled back in the driveway like, you guys are ready to go. We're like, oh shit.
Well, these guys are early risers.
Yeah. I haven't even been to bed yet. I remember it too. It was absolutely pouring down rain. It was disgusting. It was satched. We've loaded the gear up. I've gone home, had a shower.
Yeah.
And then pretty much the offsider I had hired who joined me when I first started, come across. We've jumped in the support truck, and obviously, off we went. And that was kind of the first project.
That's good. Well, went off without, I wouldn't say without a hitch. When did the truck get over? Like, did it ever come over, or did you just end up leaving it with
No, it come over about 3.5 weeks later, 4 weeks later, yeah.
Yeah.
Yep, so we had to float it there, float it back. I'm looking at the profits. I'm like, yeah, we've just done this whole job for free. But at the end of the day, the client's happy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that's all that matters.
Reputation sort of saved. No one knows anything.
Oh, definitely. And obviously since then, we've had repeat business from Agnew. You know what I mean? We've been involved with, I think the deepest hole we've drilled out there is 890 metres. We've done multiple geotechnical projects for them now. And they're a repeat customer. And
that's good.
Yeah, no, it's very good.
Shows the hustle worked, you know, you got to get it.
Oh, 100%.
I can definitely, like, my heart was feeling it. You're like, rocks up at 9 p.m. You're like, oh, sweet, it's here. Let's just switch it on, switch it off. I know how to do this.
Oh, man, my heart just dropped, Just dropped. I'm like, what now? What could go wrong?
Did you, I mean, the drills are pretty resilient. Did you have a plan B in mind that you were like, we're heading out there with shovels and we're just going to,
Well, we knew the thing started, so it was like, we just cracked the injectors every time. So we've got to dive into the engine bay and like let it starve of fuel kind of thing and turn it off. I was like, it's not a great look, but we can get it done.
Get it done.
So
that's the plan. All right, cool. So that was your first rig. So crazy. How many rigs do you guys have at the moment? Like,
so we're up to 6 rigs now. So we've averaged 2 a year, coming into our 4th year.
Fantastic.
This year. So.
Yeah. All like busy now. Like, how are you seeing the influx within the market at the moment?
Yeah. So we noticed it drop off a bit last year.
Yeah.
About July, August, September, we hit a little bit of a quiet period there. A lot of our big projects were on like long term, kind of all finished up at the same time as well. It kind of really picked up towards the end of the last year. Yeah. And pretty much we've had 100% utilisation rate of our fleet since January 3rd this year so far.
Yeah. Oh, awesome. How big's the crew at the moment? Like,
I think there's 29 guys now. Oh. So yeah, we've definitely expanded pretty rapidly. To get that big.
Cool. Obviously, as you guys are sort of building, like, what are some of the pitfalls that you have seen, I guess, in building the business that you do over again, that you could potentially do over again, and obviously scaling up to 6? Is there any situations where you feel it? Take your time.
Probably the early days, obviously, trying to get a bit more help. Obviously, capital was always the hard part. Yeah. We're kind of burning myself like at the wick at the candle from both ends kind of thing. Trying to obviously drill all day and then, remember phone calls I had through the day and going through my call. Like, who was this guy who called me? Like, just scrolling through the messages.
I don't know who this is.
Yeah, no, definitely. Obviously, a bit more support in the early days and a bit more maybe planning as well, Like, we kind of jumped in it, like all in or nothing. It was like sink or swim. So
it's funny, I kind of feel sometimes you do need to do that though. So there isn't a plan B where you have to sort of stretch it. I get obviously putting in the planning, but for it as well. But it's worked out well for you guys. So like for yourself, like how does it feel like sort of coming from, doing what you were doing before, working geotech, like the geotechnical drilling and that sort of thing, and then like owning your own company there? What's like that one lesson you've taken from, I guess, your adventures into your current role in terms of like making employment fun for the 29 odd guys that you have at the moment?
Yeah, well, really just the culture. Like, some of the companies I've worked at in the past, like the culture was there, and as the business scaled up, it kind of died off. A lot of guys, don't like the change, what I mean? They like to have fun at work, and when you are out there, all you've got is the guys you work with, and it's kind of what you make of it, and trying to stick to having that culture, but also coming across as like professional, if that makes sense.
Of course.
I mean, it's a fine line to balance out. Yeah, so we've really focused on trying to keep a good core culture around the guys we've got. Some of the boys all jumped across to me once I started up. From other companies and that, they missed that culture and workplace interaction kind of thing. So they were happy to jump on board and kind of jump on the roller coaster, which was obviously his precision.
Yeah, and so it's 4 years now, right?
Yeah, coming into our 4th year. I think we started September 2020. So
love that timing. Absolutely love that time. Once like everything started happening, did you just like go, what the hell did we just do? Or was it like still, were you still like all guns blazing during the pandemic and
No,
that sort of
well,
thing? Like, how did you
actually,
guys
the
navigate that?
times were good
Yeah.
during the pandemic. Obviously, essential workers
Yeah.
keep working. We're out of a city. All our friends are cooped up at home. We're down in Bunbury or we're up north, or some of the mine sites obviously just going through the protocols. Like at the time we had some pretty big BHP projects on.
Yeah.
All the swab tests at the tents and things they had set up at the airports and stuff. Like it was a little bit full on, but other than that, when we were on site, it's kind of because we worked in our group, like we kind of got to do our own thing and just follow the rules and have a laugh.
That's great. And I was thinking about this. For you, you obviously work with some really big players, some mid and junior guys. What do you feel like is the difference, I guess, in terms of interacting with them for their projects? Do you find sort of the big guys know exactly what they want, or is it like opposite? Like, when you sort of doing your business?
I find it comes down to the project manager. Some project managers leave everything to the last minute, and it's rush. Need you here yesterday. Nothing's prepared.
Yeah.
We go to other people, and it's everything's been done, everything's ironed out. It's a real hit and miss, and the success of a project really comes down to how well it's been. The pre-work has been set up for it, and that comes down to obviously the project management side of things.
Perfect. Cool. And then obviously for you, it's obviously keeping those relationships strong throughout your career, and just make it like it's a pretty big important role, I guess, for most drillers.
Yeah, definitely. Right? Obviously, every drilling job has its own ups and downs. You know what I mean? Like requirements and challenges. You know what I mean? It's trying to obviously overcome those challenges and still deliver a successful project for the client, and you know what I mean, as well as the boys being able to have a good time and enjoy being out there.
Last question on the current thing before we take a break, and I'll come back and talk future stuff with you. But you've got 6 rigs at the moment. Every driller I speak to has sort of a golden number of rigs in their mind that they feel is where they want to be. Some people obviously want to be like Toppy, or wants to rule the world, and then some guys are like happy with 2 rigs. So they're like, that's the thing. For you guys, what's that number for you, like managing guys? 6 sounds good after hearing all these stories, but like, what's that number for you?
There is no number.
Yeah.
Just take it kind of as it comes.
All right,
and
cool.
The more, obviously, the bigger we get, the more we can look after the guys who have been with us since day one, the more positions that become available, the more people we can help. Like, it's just a flow-on effect. So we're just kind of riding the wave and see where we end up at the end of it. So
that's there you go. So you're not adverse to going to 70,000 rigs?
No, well, we're predominantly in the geotechnical environmental sectors at the moment. We have done some shallow exploration projects as well, been a little bit exposure to that. But at this stage, we are looking at some upcoming stuff and which direction we want to steer the business as a whole. But at the end of the day, we don't want to forget our grassroots on a lot of the engineering firms and the consultant firms and the miners who obviously have helped us along our path. We don't want to leave them in the lurch, like with no one to be able to do their projects. So no matter what direction we kind of take, whether we do try to push into the exploration market and stuff and some of the bigger stuff, we will still look after, the grassroots.
I think. Plus, I think for you, it's obviously something that you hold pretty personal. Like, you enjoy doing it a lot. I'm pretty sure the guys probably feel the same way about it. So they're not going to want to.
No, well, it's a good change for the guys. Like, even on the larger projects, like some of the boys get a bit like cabin fever. Wouldn't mind going back to living the gypsy life, as we call it. You know what I mean? Here, there, and everywhere. So having that nice change to be able to get them off a bigger job and give them back to, we do jobs here in Perth as well, locally at the moment, where I've had 3 drill rigs up working in the Acamos on a pretty large project on the new desalination plant kicking off up there. So we've been up there for a couple of months now, and the guys are loving it, working Monday to Friday. It's just a nice change.
Be able to go home, see family, that sort of
that's
thing.
exactly right. So
well, I mean, it comes back to that sort of like culture piece as well for you guys. I think
definitely.
It's making that precision family. It's the most important thing.
Yeah, 100%.
All right, awesome. Well, we're going to take a break for about 5-10 minutes and then come back. And then I've got some questions about the future of drilling and where you guys see. And we'll go from there.
Awesome.
Welcome back. Thanks so much for listening. Let's talk, I guess, future of drilling, where you sort of see it going. I think for a lot of guys, when I talk to them, it's very much, I spoke to someone last week as well, it's very much like there's a element of automation going on within drilling, or wanting to. I spoke to a guy who's like, I'm going to get a drill rig. I said this last week, he's going to get a drill rig out in Africa. It's to do with a remote control. He's going to start drilling and do some exploration stuff. Like, where do you see that happening? Like, where do you see
So there is a big push around the hands-off steel, especially from some of the bigger players. Around the RC stuff, there is players already doing the remote stuff, like your Wallaces and stuff. They're doing it pretty well from what I can understand. So there is a big shift in the mindset of everyone wanting to go down that path and obviously take the people out of a zone and a risk. When it comes to like the geotechnical side of it, unfortunately, we kind of get forgotten about.
Yeah.
Like we're sitting over in the corner, like, you know what I mean? Everyone just forgets about us. So I know myself, we've taken it upon ourselves. We're actually designing some stuff at the moment, like fully robotic stuff, hands-free stuff, with the rods and sample tubes and bits and pieces like that. But I don't think you'd be able to fully automate the geotechnical sector. Obviously, one is real estate. Like, there's only so much you can fit onto like a smaller rig. You know what I mean? And the areas we work in, you know what I mean? Just down the road here in Elizabeth Quay, we drilled for all the Chevron buildings and all that. So, yeah, I mean, you can't just roll up there with some big like massive 8x8 rigs and stuff, you know, and full optometrists. So I think, like everything, it has its place in the industry, and it's how they get used, you know what I mean?
I think it's, I guess probably a little bit more development and stuff going at it. I know some drillers are like, it's going to take our jobs, and stuff like that for it, but
I don't think it would take people's jobs. It will people will progress into different positions. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, you can't fully replace people. It's just whether people are willing to adapt their job roles to kind of fit in with the current market and the way things are looking.
For it as well. Oh, perfect. So you've obviously adapted a lot of, like, doing it yourself as well, like creating that. Do you have like an in-house team of like guys that are doing this? Or are you working with a company to help develop some of these?
So some of the ideas are obviously my own. Working on some pump technology stuff. Just pretty much issues that have arisen in the field, and you know, I've asked around for help, and everyone's like, well, we just don't worry about it, just drive away, you know what I mean? Like, there's nothing you can do. If they want it that way, tell them to find the idea, you know? So we've kind of taken it a bit upon ourselves to kind of develop some cool technology. Awesome. So we've just pretty much finished our first prototype. We've trialed some of that stuff out in the field, in the yard, and we'll be taking that out to a couple projects to get some more data in regards to that stuff.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's really innovative. That's I like that.
Yeah, well, you got to obviously always try to improve, you know. And I'm a pretty big believer, you know. Try to give the guys more than I ever had, you know, make their lives easier, you know. And if you can do that, you'll attract more staff. You know what I mean, and make their lives as easy as possible working out there. At the end of the day, you know, we're all out there to try and make an income and, you know, try to, you know, have fun while we do it, you know. But as soon as you lose that kind of spark, like, people don't want to hang around. Like,
leave it better than when you found it.
Yeah, definitely.
No, it's awesome. So you're obviously a big adapter of that, which is really awesome. Digitally in the space, like, how have you consistent, like, from the beginning, always looked at ways at improving those sorts of things? Obviously, we've adopted things like Core Plan and stuff into the business and digitizing that. There are other platforms that you've used to help enhance your business as well?
So obviously we met Sachi and Alex and that in the early days of, I think 2021, like the one of the first ADIA drill sundowners here in Perth, and they kind of introduced themselves and shown us on their phones like this app they've been working on. I'm like, oh, who are these dudes? You know, like, it was pretty cool. And I think the next day, Sachi followed it up with a heap of emails and like.
That doesn't sound like him at all.
Yeah, no, well, it was like all this demo stuff. Like, no, it was pretty cool. And he obviously invited us into the West Perth office when you guys were over there. So we come in and the stuff obviously you guys at Core Plan were doing like was next to none, you know.
Yeah.
We'll at the time just used to writing on paper, and I was like, this is horrible. This is horrible. Like, I know myself, like I can't even read my own writing. Like, you know what I mean? Oh, 100%. So when you're trying to decipher, you know what I mean, 6, 10, 20 drillers, like it makes it hard.
Yeah.
No, you know what I mean? So having that technology on board in the early days has definitely helped, and especially the map of Australia, like that is awesome. Like, we get clients all the time now, like, oh, have you drilled in this area? It's like, hold on, man, let me check the map, you know, and you'll jump in, you can kind of tell, like, you know, what we're expecting to encounter and stuff. So it definitely streamlines a lot of stuff.
I love that. I've never actually thought of using that map, some function to be like, no, we've done this, the kind of results.
Oh, the data we get from that is great. Like,
that's really cool
from the client's perspective. Another big thing we've done is Starlink.
Yep.
Since that's obviously come onto the market, we've rolled that out as well. The sat phones were good, but you know, they're always like in and out, you know. Being able to obviously have full access for the boys out in the field, like, it's great. Like, especially if they've encountered an issue or something, like, oh, just chuck me on FaceTime. Like, you can kind of talk them through it step by step, how to overcome that and stuff, you know. So definitely a bit of a game changer with that as well.
That's good. Yeah, no, I definitely the more I look into Starlink, I'm like, this is great. It should just be rolled out just nationally. Stuff the NBN, just chuck this in there.
Believe it or not, we had NBN at the yard, and we swapped to Starlink.
Yeah,
we get better service.
I'm thinking about it at my house, to be honest. I'm like, I know it costs more, but it's fine. All right, so where do you see, I guess, drilling moving into the future? Obviously, there's a lot of sort of mining stuff happening at the moment. You know, prices are fluctuating, gold's through the roof, lithium's down. Like, for you guys and sort of the work that you're doing, like your section of the industry, how do you see that changing in the next sort of 10 years?
So we have noticed obviously a bit of a drop off in the mining side of things, but the mining circle, it revolves.
Yeah.
You know, you can't always just go. At the end of the day, the mining companies need a return. They won't build any new mines. They'll stay where they're at and just run. When that normally happens, the government obviously steps in, the infrastructure side, and that's the side currently I am seeing, you know what I mean? And we're seeing a very high demand in probably like the next 2 to 4 years, especially in the WA economy. I think they are trying to transition a little bit away from relying solely on the mining sector. There's a lot of new startups happening. There's a new green steel energy mill, steel mill happening down in Collie, and a lot of renewable projects. You know, there's talk of hydrogen sector, obviously with Twiggy and BP and all that getting on board with that stuff. So I think that there is good times to come. And obviously they're obviously talking about lifting the uranium ban as well. So I'm hoping that happens and it will offset the downside in the lithium and the nickel markets. Obviously it's a big sector, and we should be looking at obviously re-mining that product.
I'm just going from there. Well, the resource, we've got it. Might as well.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
Yeah. That's awesome. That's really good insight. I think that whole cycle thing is definitely, it becomes more and more apparent the more you spend time within the industry. The more
definitely.
You talk to people. It's like, no one's ever too high or too low. Everyone's like, it's just I'm just fluctuating right now. Just do what we can.
I find the guys who aren't diversified are the ones who hurt the most.
Yeah.
We're pretty diversified in our clientele base.
Yeah.
The people we work for, the industries we're in. I think we're pretty, we're all right. Like we will see a little bit of a drop off and maybe not as much growth as we like, but I think we'll still be progressing forward.
Yeah. All right. Before I wrap things up, I do have to ask. That is one of the coolest rings I've seen. I've noticed it as soon as you walked in. Wedding band?
No,
Just
no.
like a ring.
Nah, just that was actually left to me from my pop. It's a old sovereign melted down. Yeah.
Wow, it is insane. If you ever get a chance, look at it, because I'm just like, I saw you walk up with it, and I'm like, I'm a big fan of like rings. I was like, geez, that's awesome.
Yeah, that one's an old one.
Nah, it's really, really cool. All right, awesome. Is there, where can people find you? Where can they get in contact with you and the team?
Obviously, website, LinkedIn. Yeah.
Check it at the bottom. And fantastic. And any shout outs, anything you want to, sort of any last words you want to say to the people? It does not have to be profound. It's totally fine. You just feel like we're the best.
No, not really, man. No, nothing.
All right, perfect. Well, look, thank you so much for dropping in the office. I really appreciate it today. It's been a really good chat and like learning your story and what it is. We'll definitely have you back again. Talk a little bit deeper into those.
Much appreciated you guys inviting us down into the new Corplan office as well.
Yeah, no.
It's it's a good setup.
That's lovely. That's awesome. Yeah. Thank you so much.
All right, cheers, mate.
Cheers, mate.
Thanks.
Thanks.